This episode of the Great Lakes Outdoors podcast is brought to you by
Migrate Ammunition, GK Calls, Gibraltar Boatyard, Point Malay Waterfowl Festival, Gibraltar Duck Hunters Association, Turtle Box. We'd like to give a special thanks to Brian Ellithorpe. Give him a follow on all social media.
We appreciate all the support. Now let's get to the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Great Lakes Outdoors podcast. Trav and I are sitting here. I wish Trav was sitting in the studio, but he is on the other side of the state. Trav, what is up?
Not a whole lot over here. Getting ready to head down to Ohio in a couple days to try to find some antlers.
That's you guys leaving Friday, you said?
Yeah, we're heading down Friday midday. It's about a 6-hour drive. So
Jeez,
head down with a couple buddies, walk some woods.
Does Ben lease that property?
No, it's just public down there.
Okay, I gotcha. I mean, regardless, public Ohio deer are still huge.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some pictures of some monsters that he's had on camera down there. Getting on them at the right time of the year, which it's hard with having a family, kiddo, to make a 6-hour drive, more than once or twice a year.
That is a lot. It's hard just to even put some time in to understand the ground down there too. I mean, that's a whole different kind of hunting down there with the terrain wise even.
Yeah, I mean, it's hilly. I've seen some videos and stuff and him talking about having to pack out his deer and the other deer that was shot down there, through the hills and stuff. I mean, it's gonna be we're gonna be looking for sheds, but also it's gonna be like a little scouting trip as well for next year for those guys. When they go
should try to look for some turkey sign. Maybe there's some turkey down there.
I mean, Ben has enough trouble in Michigan shooting a bird, so I'm not driving 6 hours to.
That is true.
Same result.
That is true. I think I'm going to get my tag this year. I think I'm going to go with Brian and get my Ohio license just to change it up a little bit. I don't know. See how it goes. He got some ground down by him. And I don't know. I think it'd be cool. Shoot a different state.
Is that a different time of year? Or is that the same year? Same time of year?
The same time of year. I think they might open the same weekend maybe. I don't know. I'll have to ask him again. But it's crazy how expensive just your base license for out-of-state hunters are. It's crazy to think how many people go out of state for all different, deer hunting, fishing, whatever it may be, and how much money that state just brings in just off of non-state or out-of-state hunters or fishermen.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it, right? Some people go to Disney. Some people go on cruises. The people that are going out of state to these big buck areas or big turkey areas, this is their vacation because of how much money they're spending in lodging and potentially leasing. I mean, just tags alone, if you're just hunting public, it's still very costly.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know. I would like to kind of get more into the out-of-state hunting, just kind of see different stuff, I guess. I mean, I love the birds here, but at the same time, I guess to be more well-rounded about it all. I don't know.
I mean, it'll be difficult for you because, it seems like you're taking out someone new. I mean, once you kill your bird, you're taking out someone new almost every day, every weekend, So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for you this year if you do that.
I'm going to try to play it out to where I don't know if it will because I feel like I've said this last 2 years at least, where I wait till later in the year. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all unfolds. I mean, it's weird because this time of year, you don't see a whole lot of turkey. And then closer towards, April, they just start coming out of the woodworks. It's weird.
See, what you should do is wait and do the ZZ tag or whatever, the tag that I can use for statewide, like that May to May 1st or May 6th to the 30th or whatever it is, and come up north and we'll try to shoot a northern bird.
Well, did you see that they changed up the rules this year?
I did not know.
So they changed up the zoning and they changed up some dates as well. I don't believe that there's a June season anymore for Michigan, but they have it more of the rifle line, almost like a waterfowl kind of zonage, I guess, middle, north, and south.
Oh yeah, I am seeing that into 3 large units, 14.
So just a little. I mean, it's cool. I like it honestly. It kind of just resembles the other thing, other seasons, I guess. It makes it less, I don't know, for people that don't know or get confused by it. I feel like it's easier for everybody to understand because you know how that book is. The book is, it says one thing and then says another thing, and it's just so back and forth.
Yeah, so it still has that statewide, so
Does
you
it?
can hunt any zone from that May 2nd to the May 31st. but you still have looks like the 3 zones plus a private only one
Mm-hmm.
that run from April 18th to May 30th.
I gotcha. Because I was thinking about that because maybe going like that last weekend of season of May, going up north, shooting one up there, trying to shoot one up there. I think that would be pretty cool to shoot big old long beard up there.
Yeah, no, it'd be a good time. It's a little bit more of a challenge, I think, too, with the way it is being up a little bit northern and those birds having different breeding patterns and stuff.
Pressure even, I kind of somewhat get an idea of the birds down here on the pressure even and what they're used to. I mean, same thing like out of state. I mean, the terrain up there is just so much different than down here even.
Yeah, just a different, like you said, like you have your birds down there. You kind of have an idea where those birds are roosting, their patterns and stuff. And then going to a different area is just a whole different beast. Kind of like going out of state, right? To hunt those birds. So, and I see that you can have electronic tags and then mandatory harvest reports for turkeys this year, which I'm in favor of those. I don't know how what you feel about that is, but I think it's good to be able to know how many birds were taken here in Michigan to get a better idea at that.
I think the harvest report is a good thing because I mean, when we had NWTF in here, and we did the podcast, talked to her, and they have reports that you can go on the NWTF website and fill whatever out.
Mhm.
And it's just, you think about it, and you're like, how many people actually go onto that and fill that kind of stuff out? They don't know the actual data of what we have here wise. So yeah, I agree with that. The e tags is kind of just different to me. Not to physically put a tag on a bird. It's just, I mean, there's going to be ways around any tag. Don't get me wrong, but it's just I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see
They're
how it goes.
taking away from a picture opportunity. I mean, I'm gonna guess there's gonna be still paper tags and stuff that you can still purchase.
Yeah, I'm sure you could buy them over the counter and stuff. I'm sure. I don't know why you would get away from that. I mean, I don't know what you're really saving off of that, I guess.
I mean, some of the rules that are. I mean, it's not really a rule because it seems like it's just a better way to like, hey, I forgot my tag, or shoot, I forgot to buy my tag and I'm up at the cabin and then there's nothing around me. Maybe making it a little bit more easier so people aren't breaking those rules and shooting a deer and then not having a tag for it, then going and buying a tag later on, or not even buying a tag at all, or turkey. I mean, so.
See, the thing that would get to me is like the areas that you don't have a bunch of service. I'd be kind of curious on how all that plays out because do you have to shoot that bird, throw it in the truck, drive to where you have service, and then fill out your tag? So there's like things like that I have questions about, I guess.
I mean, I think it'd be just like having a fishing license over your phone. If you get stopped by the DNR and your phone doesn't load, you're gonna get it. You're probably gonna get a ticket. Unless they can look it up. But I think
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be you need to have service to be able to go in there when you shoot that bird and be able to say I shot it. Do the geographic map and all that stuff.
Right.
How they have it for deer.
Also, shout out to one of the sponsors, the Hunt Proof app. You are actually able to have all of your licenses and tags on that app. So you can just pull up that app at any time and has all your info and data on there already. So, I mean, that'll be nice actually thinking about that. Well, I'm excited to use that app for turkey season too. It helped a ton for waterfowl for myself. So I can only imagine how good it's going to be for turkey hunting.
Yeah, I mean it'd be cool because I mean this year, I mean just in years past, waterfall season is so busy for me with work and stuff. So turkey hunting is usually my time where I can get out and do a lot more hunting. So it'll be exciting to use that app a little bit more than I have this year.
It's just it's one of those things where right now it might not be as useful or helpful to some, depending on how you look at it. But there's also 5-10 years down the road and you can look back and see and I guess get those flashbacks of what you've done. I think is pretty dang cool, honestly. And just being able to learn, you gotta have the right mindset for it all, I guess.
Yeah, I mean I think it's gonna be definitely beneficial. I mean it's beneficial for waterfowl, right? But like turkeys, being able to go in there and if like with your scouting and stuff and roosting birds and being able to like this bird roosted this day, on a Monday, and then a week later you go back and they roost in that same spot, and then a week later they roost in the same spot, and be able to see that same pattern of those birds, and then to be able to take that from year to year and see how those all correlate to see if that same group of birds is roosting in those same spots. I think it's just a really cool thing to see, just like the way birds or just animals in general, their habits are, and being able to use that to the hunter's advantage to be able to be more successful in the field.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, probably pretty soon those turkeys are going to be getting back to their normal routine here. I mean, I know wintertime they kind of group up or flock up, and probably pretty soon they're going to be branching off a little bit more, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I've been just from being on this property here, I've noticed like once it gets into the fall and deer season and winter, the birds move to the west of me, and now it's kind of been cool just like driving to work and driving home and be able to see those birds starting to kind of migrate closer and closer back to my property, like that. Their range is moving back into that spring summer pattern that they usually have. So it's
Yeah,
kind of cool to see that.
that's what I got a one of the Bo Brooks calls from NWTF down in, well, buddy of ours picked it up for me, so I'm excited to kind of use that this year too. I don't know if you've seen that at all.
Yeah, I've been seeing some Instagram clips of it and stuff. Seems like it's a pretty cool call.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's almost one of those time and place, obviously, calls, just because of the fact that, if you have a fired up gobbler that's sitting out there, but it has also already got beaten up, obviously you don't want to just start wailing on that thing. It's almost, for me, I feel like might be more of a locator at night. Like if the owl call is not working, hit that and try to get a gobble off of that. I don't know. But I mean, that's with any call. Like it's time and place.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna be using that call with that bird coming across the field at you, because I mean, just with the way you have to use it, right? So
There's scenarios.
Time and place.
There's scenarios. I was at a NWTF banquet yesterday, and they were just throwing some stuff out there. And this year, I want to say it's this upcoming year, Michigan State is doing a thing now where they actually are going to start banding and putting like geo-trackers on Michigan turkeys now for the first time ever. So I think that'd be pretty cool. Whether that's state land or public land, or wherever that's even at, I don't know. But I think that alone might bring some more out of state hunters, I guess, which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool to kind of hear that and actually hear about them putting an effort into Michigan's turkey. It's hard. We were talking about it the other day too, and some of these big corporations and organizations, you don't see a lot of their doing, I guess, on properties or in the state wise. So it's hard to kind of, I don't know, help out. So just be there all the time for these companies, because, NWTF, they get X amount of millions of dollars a year. DU gets X amount of millions of dollars, all these different places, and you don't really see much, So to hear that kind of stuff, to hear that like they're actually doing work, I guess, and not using the money or completely for bad things, I don't know. It's pretty cool.
We'll see how that works out. Unless turkey season might turn into just a ban hunting season for some areas, depending on where they banned them at.
It might, but I mean, same with waterfowl too. I mean, if that's what your thing is, I guess that's what your thing is. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to go for, and so be it, I guess. I don't know. I
hope they ban them around me, because I got a satellite branch that's not too far away from me, so that'd be kind of cool to have them banded around me. I mean, I don't think that would change the fact if I had a fired up gobbler come in and if he came into range, I'm still gonna blast him no matter what. It's not like I'm gonna be band hunting.
Right. Oh, for sure. It would be very cool to get one though. I don't know if they're going to be doing it more towards like the middle of the state, like Lansing area, or because I mean, Michigan State's got so much ground up there. But I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm sure they're, for the first year, they might be up there, and then expand off of that even. But it's just another cool thing that the state's doing, I guess, to get more research and gather more information about turkey hunting.
I mean, just from an outsider looking in on it, and not someone that does a lot of research on the stuff, which, I mean, I could be totally wrong on this, but I feel like turkey hunting is one of the areas where you don't see a ton of like research done, and outside of like, I mean, like you see like the waterfall studies and stuff, and the deer with the EHD and the CWD, like all the negative things, but you never see a ton into turkeys. And I may be wrong, because I know like in your area you had turkeys planted and stuff, and they've done a lot of work on your side of the state to get the turkey population up, but it's one of those things where it's nice, like you said, to see some potential steps to maybe hopefully understand the Michigan turkey population a little bit more on this side of the state, and hopefully the entire side of the state.
I definitely think that it's more of a down south thing with like the control burning more and you know the sunshine peeking through the trees, like the canopy lighting and stuff, and understanding the nesting, you know, the right nesting habitat for turkeys. But I guess that's what I mean, like the NWTF, like everybody donates all the money to them, and then we don't really see much here, or haven't seen much here, I should say, or even like stakes or anything, I guess, with like their logo, and maybe they want to be discreet about it, but at the same time, you know, an organization like that, it'd be nice to kind of start seeing more projects. But I will say you almost got to be careful what you wish for with that as well, because you know you say you want that, but I mean DU for example, how much? I mean DU gives back to like the nesting programs, right? And wants to build habitat for the birds. How much ground are you allowed to hunt from DU?
I'm not sure. I know like with their property like projects and stuff like private land property project, you can hunt those, but I'm not sure about their like
I
public
mean,
stuff that they do, like sanctuaries and stuff.
the thing is, I guess, is, you know, they buy all these properties to turn them into wetlands and nesting grounds. Most of the time, majority of the time, I'll say it's not like you can hunt on that ground. So they're buying ground that you can't even hunt, which, you know, is great that you're doing more nesting, but we can't hunt none of it now because you're buying all the ground up. So it's a tricky avenue. You know, you like to see that kind of stuff, but if you can't hunt nothing and you're just watching the birds at that point, I mean, which one would you rather have?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a two-sided coin there because, like you said, you can't hunt it, but also I think there's a positive, like it's positive, right? Because it's a sanctuary, right? Those birds feel safe there, they feel comfortable there, which then in return, hopefully, those properties outside of that sanctuary get better and better and better, and that area gets better because more birds flock to that area. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what properties you're talking about, but those birds are gonna have to leave that to go somewhere else to find food and stuff like that potentially, right? I'm not sure on how the whole schematics work, but I think that makes it better. Like the Todd Farm up near me, like they have a sanctuary area, but they also have the properties all around it, which then when birds get in there and get loaded in, that place becomes hot, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you just hear guys like that used to be able to hunt ground. DU bought it out to make, you know, wetlands better and stuff, and then nobody can hunt anywhere around there because maybe it's a big city or something like that, for example. You know, so it's I don't know, it's hit or miss. But that's the thing. Like, do you want NWTF doing the same thing where they buy all this property up for more turkeys, but you can't even hunt the turkeys that are there now because they bought the ground? You know, it's tricky.
I think that's a whole different thing. I feel like.
Well, I'm just saying like seeing their like seeing progress. I guess is what I'm saying though too. Like seeing them putting in the money that people donate. I mean the amount of money that they made on some of the hunts even that I've heard of at NWTF was just unreal. Like 40 grand for a turkey hunt. Like it's just insane how much money people are spending, and it's where's it all going? I guess you know a lot of people have questions about it, and I try not to look too far into it, but it's hard not to sometimes as well. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be here before we know it. I'm excited for it. Got a couple things lined up. Meyer came out with their new turkey load this year. I'm excited about all of that. Gonna bust out the 410 again and hopefully let her eat.
I know I need to buy one. That's what I'm gonna be coming over your way here soon and stopping over and buying one 410
It's
just to try it out.
it's. I mean, especially for Connor too. I mean, it wouldn't be bad for him growing up, obviously, but I mean, I think I have a total of like $200 in that gun, and I love it. You know, Brandon shot his at 40 yards on a run last year, just stoned it. What did we shoot with mine? I think 2 or 3 with mine last year. Obviously, not me just personally, but just you know all together. But make sure that's clear. Um,
You shot 2 or 3 birds last year in Michigan?
I wish. I don't wish that, but you know that's a hard thing too. You know, you don't want to spend too much money on a turkey gun, and you're only allowed one bird. You know what I mean? But the hardest part with the 410 is just getting the dang shells for them. The shells alone, one box is $70. So that's the hard part. But what isn't $70 nowadays for shells?
I know it's insane. I mean, like the TSS load just for a 12 gauge. I mean, I think are 50 some bucks. So I mean, it's just insane what it takes to go. I mean, I think this year I'm gonna try to shoot one with a bow and arrow. I think that's my plan.
That would be cool. I gotta shoot my bow. I gotta get mine restrung, get all that taken care of before I start shooting it, obviously, but I need to get on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think just for so many years I had an older bow that I didn't have my own money invested into. I mean, I had some of my money invested into it, but not all of it, right? And didn't know the ins and outs of it. And then this last year, getting a new bow being able to work on it myself, going out shooting a deer with it, and then I just think it created more of a bow hunting passion that I hadn't had in a long time to do. So I think I see a lot of people shooting turkeys with bows, and I think it's such a badass thing to do. As much as it's cool to shoot with a shotgun, and I need all the help I can get, I think it'd be really cool to go out and try a couple hunts trying to shoot one with a bow and arrow. Adds another added element to it.
Now, are you going for taking the head off, or you shoot? Like, what are you thinking?
I'm still up in the air on that. I think for meat wise and preservation of the bird, I think the head is the best shot for it. But just for my own personal, I don't know what the word is for it. Just seeing it just is such a gruesome way to kill an animal, and I've seen it done. It's cool, but it's so gruesome, right? And just for hunting in the public eye of hunting, do people really want to see that outside of our niche group of hunters? Probably not.
Prime example, not to cut you off on that, is like the crane stuff in Michigan lately. The cranes got passed in the House, I believe it was, or is moving to the House. I can't.
It's still in the House. As of February 18th, it was still stuck in the House.
I thought it got passed though.
Nothing. I don't think anything got passed. It's been proposed. What was the status of as of February 18th? Both bills for the mourning dove, which has also been talked about, and the cranes is still under review in the House Committee on Natural Resources and Tourism, and not yet advanced to a full House vote or been enacted. So nothing. It's still stagnant right now.
I thought I could have swore something got passed and it had moved something else. Anyway, it doesn't help our cause when, I get it, but when people are on social media and shooting cranes and there's a crane crippled out in the field and the guy's boxing with a thing and uppercutting it and knocking it straight out, it's funny and whatever it is, but it doesn't help anybody's cause at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to us hunters, some of that stuff might seem funny in the moment, right? But you have to think about the grand scheme of things, right? That's a life. We're taking a life, as much as we don't want to think in that sort of morbid way, but we're taking a life when that animal that you're or boxing with out in the field is dying and in pain. And as hunters, our job, if we're doing it for the right reasons of hunting for food and that kind of thing, and supporting for our families, doing the most ethical way possible to dispatch that animal, not to mess around in the field for some views and some clicks. It makes us all look bad.
Well, 100%. And the dove situation, from my understanding of the doves, we're going to almost need as hunters to sign a petition to override of what has already happened with the doves. The doves are going to be way more difficult to acquire than the cranes. There's a whole another process with the doves, and a lot of people are almost giving up because of how much hoops you got to jump through to be able to get that back in the ballot even.
Well, because one thing I was seeing, so back in the early 2000s, they tried to instate dove hunting in Michigan, mourning dove hunting, and it was turned down by 69% of the public vote. So over 1.3 million voters in Michigan decided that they didn't want this to be a game animal. So as much as it might just be a small niche of people, I think just for me and you, it's just adds another thing to when we're bored to go out and be able to hunt these animals, hunt these birds. But in the grander scheme of things, is it that necessary for us to be able to hunt these animals because of the fact of you don't get a ton of meat off it, and I don't know what the other reason would be for it, but they're a cool bird. They're a songbird, right? I think it take a lot to get that through.
My debate on that is one, they're delicious, and two, they're absolutely everywhere, obviously, and the problem is look how much more money. How many states, if you could look this up, don't have dove hunting? I think there's 7 maybe.
Probably all the northern states, to be honest with you.
No, I think maybe California or something doesn't.
It says Kentucky, Massachusetts. What's ME?
I don't know. Skip that one.
Michigan, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, and Vermont. Sorry.
Okay, so even California has it, which is pretty sad to say. But think about how much revenue in the state for out-of-state hunters that Michigan alone could get off of just dove hunting alone and out-of-state hunters, and how much that would help like the DNR's cause on raising prices on tags in other scenarios as well. You would be surprised on how many waterfowl hunters would travel for dove hunting, especially with the amount of doves that we have here.
You think so? You think that people? I think that dove hunting in itself is not going to be the driving factor. I think, like for me, or I think just as a general opinion, if I'm living down in Ohio, Illinois, I'm not driving to Michigan just to hunt doves and paying an out-of-state tag for that. I'm coming to do something else as well, like waterfowl hunt or do something like that.
People go down to Mexico for it.
Yeah, but that's also the experience, right? Like I've seen those videos, like it's like a all-inclusive, full experience. You're down there and you're fishing, you're doing other things as well. It's not just going down there to dove hunt.
Yeah, I mean, I understand a whole lot of country and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, like, same with me going to Ohio right over the border and killing a turkey. You know, different scenario, different stuff, and it might not be a ton, but it still would be, you know, I think a good amount of money for the state.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, of if this was like a lodging and like it was kind of similar to like what it is, a lot of the things are in Mexico, I think that's a different story. But if someone's just buying a tag over the counter coming up to hunt, like is public land have a ton of doves on it? I mean, I don't know, right? But are you going and knocking on doors where, say, they come to your area and they knock on your farmer's door? They're not going to get permission, right?
Right.
Like, 'cause you're waterfowl hunting.
Well, I think it's a whole different season though too. I think it's like it was almost like a teal season where it's like September or early goose season, for example. So like when the wheat's in and stuff like that. So there's only a small window for dove season alone. But I don't know. I just think it'd be a good opportunity. And the thing is think about how much non-hunters in this state predict or choose what the laws are for different seasons and stuff like that, or what you can shoot and can't shoot. I mean, it's crazy that hunting alone can become such a political thing and not more of an outdoorsman or woman's thing. You know what I mean? It's weird in my eyes.
It's all based on, I think, at least in my opinion, right? It goes back to my opinion because I have no basis of statistical evidence on this, but it goes back to money, right? It goes back to power. I don't think, I mean, I do think there is a little bit of an aspect of the well-being of the animal, but I think it goes back to making sure everyone's pockets are full that are in power within these government bodies.
Well, you're not making no money with no season, though. You're saying, like, basically buying votes, you're saying?
No, I'm just saying in general, right? Like, well, like if, say, I'm an activist, right, and I have a lot of money, I'm going to put money towards the government body that is to hopefully make sure that doesn't go through. You're buying your way to
put money towards that. I think you're just getting the votes towards that. You know what I mean? So the non-hunters that don't want the dove shot, that don't even.
Yeah, I mean, it all goes back to political stuff where you campaign and there's money goes towards it to then get votes to then be able to persuade those votes in law-making areas.
Well, I mean, think about it. If someone signs or gets enough signatures for eliminating deer hunting, they get past that and make it that much harder for us to reboot that into the system, per se, for us to deer hunt. I mean, just that's the truth behind it. You could literally vote out deer, that's the part that I think is just crazy that group can do that to people, I guess, that don't even hunt, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there was a statistical reason for that animal's well-being, why that hunting should not be available, like shouldn't be allowed, then that's a whole different story. But then if it's just because I don't want to see Bambi get shot, then that's 100% wrong, right?
Right.
Like if whitetail deer were going endangered, like I would, because I care so much about that animal, I would say I wouldn't hunt that. I would vote to outlaw hunting in that case, because that's how much I care about that animal. I don't want to see that animal go away. That's the same thing with doves, right? Like if there's a reason behind doves and why they're a protected bird in Michigan, like, but you see doves everywhere. Same thing with cranes, right? That's why there's laws or motions in place right now to hopefully change that. But I understand maybe one point in time there was a reason why these laws were in place, but I don't think that's the case nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird when you kind of break it down, in certain scenarios can actually happen, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know. You went out shed hunting the other day, didn't you? Or no, you were going to and didn't?
I was going to, but then we got a couple inches of snow. and was 20 degrees outside, and I decided I didn't need to go find. I didn't need to go look for sheds. And then the next day I did the same thing, and the next day I did the same thing. My 4 days where I thought I was going to be out shed hunting the entire day, I was not shed hunting the entire day. Let's just say that.
It's tough because I went out the other day and there was a little bit of snow on the ground and I found one in I don't know, matted down like CRP field almost, but there was no snow on the ground. Went across the road, and it gets so hard because of the snow and your eyes just adjusting so much. In my opinion, you could walk right by one and not even know it. Obviously, I mean you could do that in general, but with the ground being dark, like we talked about on the last podcast, it just popped that much easier. I ended up going out today, and this morning I didn't think I was going to go just because we got snow last night. Ended up finding 3, and they stuck out like sore thumbs. I mean, one was on the way back, and it was almost black outside, just because that certain light with that whiteness of that rack. I mean, it just popped like crazy.
And they were so big.
Well, they're pretty good sizes. The one is like probably the target buck. I shouldn't say probably. It was my target buck this year, and I've seen them all year long. I just never had them close enough.
Well, and can you show the people the sheds, or are you just going to talk about them and not show the sheds?
Let me turn this light off behind me, so maybe that'll. Oh, nope, wrong way. Maybe it'll make it a little easier. So this is the one. I don't know if you can see that or not. Nice 5 point. I don't know if I even have a picture of this deer this year. Looks like a younger buck to me. I mean, he's heavy. And then this is the mat set. They were laying, I don't know, 2 foot away from each other. This is the one I was after all year. So it's got a nice little kicker off the brow there. This is actually the buck that my sister messed up on last year. So I don't know. It's hard though, man, because like I picked them up earlier, obviously, and I didn't think it was him at first. I thought it was like it was too small of a set to be him. And obviously thinking about it, there was no other deer like that out there. But sheds are just different instead of on top of a deer, because you hold them and they don't look like the actual set. You know what I mean? They look different than they would on a deer's head.
Yeah. I mean, crazy how big that deer was this year. I just can only imagine if that deer, makes it through the winter, no coyotes, nothing like that, like how big that deer's going to be next year.
Yeah.
As big as your dad's that he shot this year.
It could be. It definitely could be. It's hard over there though, because there's so many like little tree lots and wood lots and fence rows, and the deer move so much where the property that he was at this year, is pretty comfortable where he's at. But the other side, you never really know what you're going to get. I mean, like that one deer that looked like he was 400 pounds walking through the food plot this year, I don't think we've seen him again. So it gets tough over there with knowing what's next, I guess. That big one, for example, that I found last time, even I only had 2 pictures of him, and it was when he was in velvet and then hardhorn. I think it was middle of the year or later in the wintertime or whatever it was. But like I said, you just never know.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the perks of the cell cameras nowadays is like if we were still back when you had to go out and get the SD card, there's probably a good chance you guys wouldn't have hunted that stand. You guys wouldn't have been out there. You wouldn't even known that deer was there for 2 or 3 days after that deer had left the property. So it's crazy to see like that deer had been gone all year, shows up one night, and you'd be able to get that deer because of all the technology that's in place nowadays for that.
Somewhere in this mess here, I just found, this might even be it here, but I don't want this whole thing collapsing right now.
It'll be a good snippet. Just do it.
Maybe in a minute. But I'm pretty sure that one there is the shed off of my dad's buck from 4 years ago, I think it was. So I think I have a couple more, at least one side, like one of his sides from that deer. But I would only just find the sheds. I never really found out where that deer was living at. And most of the time I'd find his shed sitting along one of the fence rows. So I don't know if he was living just on that ditch line right there or what. And, this year, obviously, he moved into that little tiny wood lot and we're able to get them. But obviously, they don't get that big for being stupid.
Did you have that deer aged?
The guy my dad sent that deer to, my dad told him that he wanted to age it. And the guy misheard him or misunderstood him and threw the jawbone out. But the guy was guessing anywhere from 6 to 7 or 6.5, 7.5 years old.
That's unheard of in Michigan.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, if you think about it, though, so we had one buck that I didn't even know about until I talked to the neighbor. He had a double main beam on him. Never seen the deer ever. I mean, and he was a couple hundred yards behind my stand multiple times on his camera. So, I mean, there's a lot of big deer in that area over there. It's just, I don't know, being smart with it all. And over the last 3 years, I think we've learned those deer a little bit more every year and found more routines and stuff, and it seems to be working. So I'm excited for years to come with it all.
I mean, I guess let me ask you this: how many years have you had access to hunt that property?
The property that my dad shot his on.
Yeah, like not for deer hunting, but just in general, to have to waterfowl hunt and stuff like that.
I think I asked to deer hunt that property last November, so a year.
So you haven't like that property had been unhunted for so many
No,
years.
there's another guy that actually hunts it.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, so the guy is unable to hunt often as often as he wants to. But yeah, there's another guy.
Now.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, there's another guy that has access to it. He hunts a couple times a year or whatever, and that's the only reason why I did ask on it. It was the neighboring property to the north of us. And last year, well, 2 years ago, I guess, during the rut, I would always see deer in and out of that place. And knocked on the door, saying that never see anybody back there, and just me and my dad, and sometimes my sister once in a while. We're wondering if we can hunt, and yeah, no problem at all.
Well, there goes my idea out the window. I thought it went unhunted and hunted, and it was like a sanctuary for all these monster bucks to get bigger and bigger. But disregard my theory.
The thing is though too. So there's in probably 4 square miles, if not more. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe at most 7 people that hunt in that 4+ square miles. So talking to all these guys are on the same page about letting the little ones grow and shooting good mature deer. So that obviously helps a lot out.
So there's a management system in place between these hunters in the area where they're not shooting the 2-year-old deer; they're letting them walk.
To an extent, yeah. To an extent. I think Louis he tagged out with 2 2-year-olds this year, but I mean the genetics over there, I mean they're good bucks still. They're good quality deer. But again, the location that we're at, there's so many deer around there that I would be very curious to know the buck to doe ratio, because the amount of bucks I feel like we have over there is insane.
In the good insane or in the bad insane?
Good. I mean, I feel like there's a ton of bucks. I mean, if you think about it, I think I found 8 sheds this year, and 1 is just a match side. So, I mean, just in that perspective alone, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty good, I feel like.
I think that's. I mean, in that sense, you see more deer actually doing a proper rut where they're having to travel, they're having to move to different areas to be able to find that hot doe, and that's what the buck to doe ratio does, is that there's a chance at bigger deer because they're having to move, they're having to get out of their beds and those safe areas where they feel where they can be at, and not have to move. They have to get out of those areas. They have to go out into those cornfields. They have to go out into those transfer areas where those hunters are at, and hopefully they get a chance to harvest them.
Well, and I think a lot of it is 2 things. I think thinking outside of the box, like the property that I hunt, the owner hunts it. Louis is the owner. He hunts across the street behind the house, but he allows me to go over there still because it's just mainly a field, And if you drive by it, you don't think that there would be anything out there. I guess you don't think you get opportunity at stuff. So thinking outside the box, not overlooking like the opportunities that it could possibly be, and I think less pressure for the deer. With only that amount of guys hunting over there, the deer are actually able to have a safe location where they can go to if it does get pressured or whatever. There's not a guy in every other stand or tree. So I think
that goes back to not over hunting the winds, hunting the right stand, moving locations. It just goes into proper techniques of not pushing those big deer out of there and waiting till you have the proper wind. As much as some people are gung-ho on wind, some people are like, I'll go out and smoke a cig in the stand, like those kind of people. Like that's what it shows right there, where you're having those, you're able to hunt that deer, feels safe to come out, the deer your dad shot, to come out and shoot those, so.
I do know that, and I know Trav has got some, I don't know, what do you want to say, controversial talks or updates on state laws and regulations, I guess.
Yeah, something that I saw come across my feed, something that we really haven't talked about a lot, or we've talked a little bit about, but the deer baiting in Michigan. I saw on February 24th, the Michigan House passed a bill that would lift deer baiting across the Lower Peninsula. So the bill now heads to the Senate, and we'll see where it goes from there on it. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that and kind of maybe dive a little bit more deeper into that.
My thing is, my thought process on it all is, there's two different types of ways of looking at it, and two types of different like hunters out there, I guess, right? The guys that got more into like the food plots and the more of the I don't know, the habitat, I guess, which will probably be a little upset about the baiting aspect of it all. And then there's the guys that almost or did get out of hunting completely because of the baiting. Either way, it doesn't bother me as much, I guess. I think there's good and bad with it all. I think the state alone is trying to figure out a way to cover its own butt in a sense, just because of the fact of like, what was it, CWD? That's the reason why they canceled it all. And now with research, and I think we did talk about this a little bit. Now with the research, they found out that deer can't pass CWD or get CWD from it or something. So I think they're just trying to cover their own self in a way, and maybe not. That's just my opinion towards it. I mean, I'm good either way with it. It doesn't bother me. I think it was good that some guys got into more like the habitat stuff, but either way, it don't really bother me much.
Well, and one of the things that, like you heard in earlier talks when they were saying they were going to pass it, but then you had to buy a tag for it. So I think if the research is done and they say, like you said, there's no real health concern, outside of, some things, like
Yeah.
they shouldn't be doing it for the wrong reasons, as in the money side of things, right? Like if it's bad for deer, as hunters should realize, okay, we shouldn't do that. But then you think on the grand scheme of things is like, okay, but what's the difference between a natural apple tree out on public land that's been there for, forever, right? Like, well, how is that different from my bait pile now that is apples, right? What's the difference in that? What's the difference between a cornfield where that 3 deer are eating off the same corn cob? Like, where's the difference in that? So, I'm just see, like, I don't want to see it come back and then people have to pay money for the tag. Like, I want to see it come back the way it was previously, where it was your God-given right to be able to bait these deer, right, as a hunter or as a Michigander to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Michigan is at a point now in the state where they're losing too many hunters. I think they are not getting enough out of state hunters. And obviously, I mean, they're bumping the tags up for a reason, from my understanding of it all.
Going from 20 to 25 this year,
which I mean isn't crazy, but still, it's still going up. Where it's almost like we should kind of take a step back and see, maybe changing up some things that are a lot bigger, whether that is a $1 state or, whatever it may be. We're hunting these deer basically, I mean, shoot, 7 months out of the year, 8 months out of the year. Muzzleloading season isn't even muzzleloader season anymore. You can use whatever you want. A lot of guys are talking about the crossbows and compound bows and stuff. And it's almost, in my opinion, where let's try to take a risk at something, because at this point, I mean, we don't really have much more to lose. So if you want to bring back baiting, so be it. But I mean, let's try some other things as well. I mean, let's try a $1 state for a couple of years and see what happens. Let's try, whatever it may be. I'm good with whatever.
The thing where you talk about, doing the $1 state for a couple of years, that's a management system where if you do it for a couple of years and you take it off, then people go out, shoot their 2 3-year-olds, their 2 4-year-olds, and now we're back to where we started the 3 years prior to that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm in favor of it because I have no issue going out and shooting a doe. But also, I don't want to be it. Like, then you get into like the rights aspect of it, right? Like, where can I tell someone what to do on their own private property, right? If it's not harming anyone. Like, I understand it potentially could be harming the deer herd in their area, which I think needs to be talked about and discussed. And I think, in my opinion, $1 is a way to go to be able to get the herd back to a healthier area, like a healthier zone, right? Like more of a 3-to-1, or to the ideal 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 ratio. But for me, just from seeing in forums and on Facebook groups and stuff like that, it's hard to see it getting passed because like in the Let 'em Grow pages in Michigan and like all these different other conservation groups where these guys and gals in here that say I want to shoot big deer and I want to pass these 2-year-old deer, they're majority of them are I don't agree with this one buck, which blows my mind if you're in a group where you want to shoot bigger deer. Having a 1 buck state is the ultimate way to do it. I know APRs are a great way to do it as well, and they've been very successful in certain areas in Michigan, but APRs only work to an extent because what if a deer has great genetics, right? Back when I was a kid, I shot a 2-year-old really nice 8-point.
Right.
But could you imagine if it was a 1 buck state and it was either shoot that deer or wait for a bigger deer? I probably wouldn't have shot that deer, and that deer that next year could have been a monster, right? Like that's how these states that have 1 bucks and they shoot monster deer. That's the reason right there, because you have to decide: do I shoot this small buck or do I wait? And if you're fine with shooting a small buck, so be it. Like shoot your spike horn, shoot your 4-point, do whatever. But that's your buck. And I know so many people's mindsets. My mindset too is like I'm gonna shoot that nice 2-year-old buck, and then I'm gonna hold off and shoot that big buck. But that's a total backwards way to think about it, because now you're ruining next year's hunt or someone else's hunt. So
It's hard to say because I mean you could also say the same thing about having bad genetics, right? I mean I had that giant 6 or 7-point last year on my property, and if you could only shoot one with 4 or whatever on one side, you're just passing those bad genes on the APR side of things. I think a 1-buck state and just leave it at that is a lot better than having a antler restriction.
yeah. Okay, so I propose you this. I saw this question on one of the forums I was reading. If so, you have 1 buck, you haven't shot your buck yet, and a injured buck comes running through. As a hunter with 2 tags, usually I would no thought about it. I would shoot that deer because I don't want to see that deer suffer. But now with 1 buck, are you wasting your tag and shooting that deer to take it out of its misery?
Well, I mean, it's hard because at some point you got to let nature do nature's thing, right? It sucks as an outdoorsman to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's hard. You want to take that out, but you also don't want to draw that tag on it. You kind of just got to let it, like I said, take its course, I guess, in a sense. You know what I mean?
So you're saying you wouldn't shoot that deer?
I don't know. I guess I feel like no matter who's sitting here, who's getting asked this question, it really depends on in the moment, like what is going on in the stand. You know what I mean? Or
Correct.
what other deer are around? What's happening during that hunt? So it's hard to say I would or I wouldn't right now. A lot of variables into that, I guess. How injured is that deer? What are we talking here?
That deer's not going to make it through the winter.
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say, honestly.
It's also tough to tell in the moment too, because deer are such relentless animals, right? Like we had a deer growing up on my property that had 3 legs, and it lived to be like 7 years old.
Right.
So it's hard.
That's what
it's hard to tell, right? But like in the moment, you see a deer that's not looking well, and you think it's not going to make it. It's a hard decision right now. I'd say, of course, I would shoot it, but if I only had 1 buck tag and I was in the stand, like it's hard to say I wouldn't pass that deer up, as terrible as that sounds. But I think that would be a common answer between a lot of trophy hunters out there, right? So
yeah, I mean that could go both ways. I feel like, I mean, I don't think that's a question that is going to determine whether we should do 1 buck or not. I mean, because
it's definitely a variable in it. Why some people might say, "Hey, I don't want to do that," but then you might see something come up to where there's other rules and laws in place where there's a salvage tag, right? Like that, or some type of injured tag, right? Where that deer's been injured, and like I don't know how that works, how that would work.
That's the hardest part, I guess, with a lot of these rules and regulations with any type of hunting, because one, you're never going to make everybody happy with it all, and it's just one of those things where whatever they do decide whether you get a salvage tag or not, I mean, you're just going to have to make it be what it's going to be. It's hard. Like I said, you're not going to make everybody happy. Everybody's going to be upset about something, because the fine line stuff, I guess, the nitty gritty that people don't think about, that's what's going to determine a lot of stuff, I guess. Or not determine a lot of stuff, but a lot of like questions about that kind of stuff, it's better off just like going for it and trying it out and just doing it than and just saying no salvage tags or salvage tags. But then, you know, I feel like then you almost could say that with any deer at that point. You know, what if that you shoot a deer and you try to use a salvage tag on it and it wasn't even hurt, you know, because it's probably going to happen somewhere. Somebody's going to try to do that. Who's to say that deer was injured?
Yeah, I mean that goes to like a waterfowl mindset, right? Where if you cripple a bird and you can't find it, technically that's supposed to go towards your bag limit, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how many guys cripple a bird and they don't count that towards their bag limit?
I'd say probably
Probably
80%.
90% of them.
Yeah.
90% of them. Yeah. So it's going to have to be us as hunters to be able to enforce ourselves, right? And put the animal first in that situation and not trying to bend the rules to make it better for us, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of hunter you are. I mean, if you're a trophy hunter or a meat hunter, you know what I mean? There's so many different just viewpoints that people are going to have on that.
Yeah. But so I want to ask this question, and this can be one of the last questions we talk about. But before we go, I want to, if you were to, for Michigan whitetail, and this has been a big topic I've been seeing, is for the rest of, like, this law would never change. This would be the law for the rest of our whatever to do in Michigan. Would you rather go APR? So that's, you know, 3 on a side for one and 4 on a side for the other, just like antler restrictions on it, and have 2 bucks, or you move to a 1 buck state. And let me add a second part. Let me add a second part to this. With doe tags, is they are a very reduced cost for a 1 buck state. So you buy your buck tag, and you're able to buy cheaper doe tags with that.
I mean, I think even with if the doe tags were expensive, I think 1 buck would be the best way to go in all reality. Just because, like I was saying, like, you know, you have your deer, like the bad genetic deer that you would never shoot at that point then. You know, I mean, I think the 1 buck state gives you better opportunities in the long run than APR, I feel like, in my opinion. I mean, that to me, that's just a no-brainer. I feel like there'd be too many issues. I mean, there's that 5-year-old buck or deer out there that you know is old and mature that's been around for. I mean, look at the deer that your dad shot 2 years ago. I mean, that was a massive 6-point. He wouldn't have been able to shoot that, or I mean, he would have been if it was 3 points, right? But you know, there's just too many variables at that point. I feel like that could go wrong in a sense, maybe, or work backwards for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so stuck. I'm so torn, like, because I think about it, how much I love deer hunting and just being in the stand and hunting big mature whitetail or hunting whitetail bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Is I would lean probably more towards an APR system, unfortunately. Even though in my gut I know a 1 buck state is the way to go. But I think if I had to put pen to paper, I would do APR because I know it can be successful if it's done right.
And that depends on the areas too, though. You know what I mean? It depends on the deer that you have around you as well. You know, if you have a lot of bucks around, you have not a lot of, you know what I mean? Like there's different variables in that even, you know? So yeah. I mean, me personally though, I would go just 1 buck per year. That's just me. So
No, I think, yeah, it'd be awesome to see that. I know through talking to people and reading in forums, like, it's gained a lot of traction and there's a lot of movement on the social, and they've been going to the NRC events and stuff like that, to where I think there's hope towards it. It's just gonna see what the public opinion outside of those monster trophy hunters, you know, what their thoughts are on it.
yeah, I mean, and it's funny too because there's a lot of things lately. I don't know, just because I'm more involved with more groups and stuff that we talk about it more, or it's becoming more prevalent for changes of the seasons, like whether it is waterfowl or turkey, you know, going to 2 birds for the state, or, you know, there's just so many different things that are coming up more of now, I feel like, than before. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the awesome things about social media. There's so many negatives within the hunting realm for in social media, but, like, one of the positives is being able to gather all these like-minded individuals that believe in certain things that they feel like is better, that can improve that hunting, right? And be able to hopefully enact change through that, you know, by gaining all these like-minded people.
Well,
Some people, they might not all agree on it, but other people might not agree on it, but it's cool to see that happening on social media in present time.
I think a big thing though is if you do ask the questions on social media, you have to be open-minded towards hearing different viewpoints of things as well. Like, you can't just be one-sided the entire time. You know, you got to be able to like think of it from, you know, their area or how they hunt or whatever it may be. You know, you can't just be stuck and stubborn about everything. I don't know.
And that's still one of the downfalls, right? Like someone has an opinion on it, and you're gonna see 100 comments underneath of it of people bashing that person and saying that's never gonna work, right? That's still one of the downfalls, and that's still, I mean, that's gonna happen anywhere and in any type of conversation where someone doesn't agree with someone. The thing you got to think about what you said in there is being open minded and being able to understand where they're coming from in their hunting area and why that potentially could be beneficial, and being able to hear them out and maybe change your mindset on it, you know, which some of the old timers and some of the people that are stuck in their ways, unfortunately, that's just not the way they think, which sucks.
It's just funny though too, because you'll see people like ask a question on social media and they'll answer it with their answer, and you're not going to change their answer. So it's like, why did you even ask the question though if you didn't want to like hear everybody's opinion on why you should do this or why you shouldn't do this? You know, it's just, I don't know. It's just funny how people think sometimes. I feel like, I don't know. But I don't know if anybody's got questions or even post your viewpoint on some of the topics that we hit on tonight or today, I guess. I'd be curious to hear everybody else's thoughts on it all. And just what they would think that, what they think that would benefit the state for, you know, whether it's the deer hunting or the turkey hunting or the waterfowl or even the dove season. Let us know. Like I said, I'd be curious to see what people think about it all.
Yeah, and then for future podcasts, if you have any topics, anything you want us to touch on, please shoot us a message on any of our social media platforms. We'd love to discuss that and, you know, and bring light to that situation for you guys.
If there was a way, I would honestly like to do a podcast where we got, you know, we were able to bring guests on here for, you know, 10 minutes per time or whatever it may be, and hear a debate. Like they ask us a question or why they think we should leave it this way or change it or whatever it may be, and do like a debate per person or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we could do is do like they send in a video clip of what their question is and what their opinion is on it, and then we have it on the stream or have it on the podcast, and then we discuss it and what we think about it.
Yeah, that would be cool too. So if anybody wants to do that, I think it would be pretty cool to hear everybody's thoughts on stuff. So, well, I appreciate it, Trav. I appreciate everybody tuning in on this week's podcast. We kind of talked a lot, whether it was turkeys or a little bit of shed hunting and deer hunting there. We'll be talking more on turkeys and springtime fishing here soon. I guess thanks for tuning in on this week's podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you guys.
See ya.